Hello, hello. Oh, I realized I left the volume up on my computer. That's not good. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Couple of comments, including Kai, who caught what I was doing. That's sick. Also, the first time I've tried using the looper for a little intro, which I often forget is built into the QC. So I hope everyone can hear everything because that was a little bit of a different experience for me. Dave, yo. Gordon's alive. Dive, dive. Kai, yo. Ken, the lonely guitar man. It feels like that today. Joe is off screen. He didn't put his face on today, lol. Yeah, he got a little carried away. You know, he's a bit of a prima donna when it comes to those things. Makeup wasn't here today. They called in sick, so he didn't want to be on the live stream. No, Joe is in fact somewhat ironically out because he's not feeling super hot. So good for me that he's not here making me sick. Bad for us because he's not here in the chat or in the live stream to hang out. Kai nailed it. Yes, hardcore mentioned. I have a best friend back home who has platinumed 100% of the game with me over the last couple months. And yeah, he was like, dude, it'd be so sick if you played the Lumiere riff. I was like, I'll do that. So this is a performance. It's for instructional purposes. Please don't copyright strike me for whatever reason. Although Sandfall seems legit, like they wouldn't do that. Joe has a very important modeling career to consider. Yes, accurate. Oh, game of the year for sure. 100% Kai. Best game I've played in a minute, actually. Really, really liked it. Beyond liked it. Really loved it. Thought about posting in the discussion group earlier when I shared the photo of this guitar, which we'll get to in a second. Thought about saying today we feel really wee, not very woo, but I thought it would be a little too on the obscure side of Claire Obscure. So, anyway, nerddom. I'm sure it will recommence at some point in this video. Also, this strap is like perfectly long enough where it wants to fall off my shoulder. Driving me nuts. It even made me hit a clam on the intro jam because I tried to fix it and, threw off my muscle memory because that's my excuse. So, happy Friday. Friday live stream. Balaguer Guitars Friday live stream. Welcome, one and all. It's our first time in a month because 2 weeks ago we were in Germany for Guitar Summit. That was a blast. Second year doing it. The first year I was there on my lonesome. This year it was Joe and I and Amy, and we had an amazing time. We got to spend a couple days doing some team building and bonding over Oktoberfest, which was a blast. Made it up to Mannheim for the show. Got to meet Kai in person for the first time, which was such a rad hang. Felt really special because we've known each other for so long. And yeah, it was really rad. We get to see so many of our compatriots who we do not normally get to see, whom we do not normally get to see, including some amazing content creators, amazing players, and just all around amazing friends. If I gave shout outs to everyone, it would be too long a post or too long a rant. But I'm thinking about that because I did post about it and tagged a bunch of people. So you can check out the Balaguer stuff. We've posted a bunch of cool photos, tried to tag everyone in all of them. We have some really cool things in the works now after Guitar Summit with some content creators, as well as some UK and EU Balaguer doings and goings on. So all of our friends across the pond, hopefully it won't be much longer before you're able to secure your own Balaguer without paying insane VAT and everything else. But don't let me put the cart before the horse. That's still sometime coming, probably 2026, although I hope earlier in the year. But we will keep you posted. Also, shout out to everyone in the chat who has an astigmatism, because now that I'm in the middle and not on the side, these lights are blasting me in the face, and I can't read the chat because everything's just a blur. It's like driving at dawn. Let's see. Dave says, be secure in the obscure. That's what I'm talking about, man. Got to keep it clear when you're being obscure. Kai says, glad I had VIP tickets to Sangomexi. Yeah, what a shout, man. Oh, that was so much fun. Seriously, though, thanks so much. Not just for all the support, but for the hang. It was so cool. Awesome you got to play the guitars. Awesome we got to chat. That's the stuff we love. That's why we enjoy the trade shows. That's why we do as many of them as we can, is for stuff like that. Juan, yo, what up? Good to hear from you, dude. Dave says, "Hey, I know that band. Yeah, we do. We do a thing. You know, we play every now and then together. It's a Friday live stream band. It's the new thing. If you haven't heard of it, absolute standout from the show. Love the Flaxword Espada. Oh, sick. Thank you. Yeah, it's that guitar got a lot of attention. It's funny, you know, we had it at NAMM, and a lot of people noticed it, but it didn't get nearly the attention that it got at Guitar Summit. People really, really, really liked that guitar. We had a lot of offers to buy it. Um, and it's something that we're going to continue working on the prototype. If anything, you know, that's why we do stuff like that, because so many people were interested in it that yeah, it makes us want to pursue it even further. So we're going to keep working with them. The one that we have there is the prototype neck from them. We're going to keep working, see if we can get it a little more refined for our guitars specifically, and I hope we can, because they're really great. They feel great. They look great. They're sustainable. They also sustain, but and they're really sick. So I hope that we can do something with them in the not too distant future. I'm a UK Balaguer doing, but paying VAT though. Yeah, that is the move. And we're hoping to not have that be a thing in the near future. Whether it's select customs or production stuff. Literally had a phone call before hopping on the live stream about some of that. So stay tuned. Other things that we have going on, because it's been a minute since we've chatted. The DS7s, Devin Scheideker's new signature guitar, the 7-string Diablo, carved top, premium, pale moon ebony, cauterizer set, everything amazing in a Diablo 7-string. That guitar is nearly complete. That run is nearly complete. Those will be coming in the not too distant future in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So there aren't many of them left. If you want one, go get one. They're $21.99, but they're the most premium production guitar we've probably ever made. Certainly that we've ever made as a non-exclusive for a dealer. Shout out to Drop D, Matt D over at Drop D Guitars in Tennessee, because they've done a couple of exclusive runs that would give this a run for its money in terms of like premium spec. But this one being a signature, and with Devin, who is is on the team as artist relations for Balaguer, and is just the raddest dude. We're super stoked for it. So there aren't many of them left. If you want one, snag one. Other cool stuff. So everyone, all of the Espada ABs, Growler, standard baritones, 7-string Diablo baritones, and the Seraph ETs. If you had one of those on order, they have all shipped at this point. So if you do and you haven't gotten a notification from us, something has gone awry and you should let us know. But everyone that we have on the list, those guitars have been sent out. So you should see them out in the wild. That includes with dealers like Drop D and others. But if you ordered directly, you should have, if you haven't received it by now, it has been shipped as of whatever, late last week, early this week. So it should all be with you. We made sure to get that out of the door as soon as we got back from Guitar Summit. So be on the lookout if that's you. Show looked kind of weird with the headphones only thing, Dave said. And Kai says, might just be my autism speaking, but the headphone only aspect was a real treat. Actually being able to chat to people at a normal volume was great. Yeah, the best way that I can think of describing that at Guitar Summit is, I mean, overall, it's still exhausting, right? It's a trade show. There's an insane amount of stuff to see. It goes all weekend long. It starts early and ends late. It's a whole thing, and it is exhausting. But if you can imagine doing something like that where the noise floor is here at Guitar Summit, like loud because everyone's talking, not loud because the noise is insane, and then you do another trade show that doesn't have quiet, it isn't a quiet show, where the noise floor is up here, everything you say and do has to be done louder, and everything you try and hear takes more focus to listen to because of the ambient noise, because the noise floor is so much higher. That like at the end of a day of NAMM, you are like, at least I am, physically exhausted, because you're always mentally exhausted doing a show like that at the end of the day, because you have to be on the whole time, which is sick. I love doing trade shows. But the physical toll that it takes on you at a show that has loud amps versus a quiet show is like day and night. It's wild. So I think they both have their place, you know, and Guitar Summit still has live rooms where you can turn up amps. They have soundproof rooms, they have stages, and they give performances. they still do all that stuff. It's just in a more controlled environment, which sometimes is an inconvenience, but most of the time is not. Highly recommended. Anyone who's considered going to Guitar Summit, go. If you can, if you have the time and you can afford it and it's near you or whatever, go. It's an amazing show. Unlike a lot of other big trade shows, it focuses exclusively on like guitars and bass and amps and things more in this sphere. So especially if you're a guitarist, bassist, like more in that scene, it's rad as hell. Also, so many awesome European boutique European builders that build stuff that you don't get to see at NAMM or don't get to see on the street. Um, just absolute insanity in terms of the quality, the craftsmanship, and sometimes just the pure wackiness. Um, it's just a great time. I'm not going to give away a bunch of stories because I'm sure we'll talk about it more when Joe's on in a couple of weeks. I know the hype will have faded a bit by then, but I know he'll want to talk about it because of how cool it was. It always is. So we'll definitely be back next year unless something changes. And yeah, it was a blast. So thanks to everyone who came out and said hi. Thanks to everyone who played the guitars, took photos, jammed, goofed off with us, brought us a coffee. It was such a good time. It always is. It's reinvigorating to do stuff like that and be able to hang and chat and do the whole thing. So already looking forward to next year. What a sick time. Thank you to everyone at Guitar Summit. Shout out to Nadine Fleece specifically, who puts the show together, basically stays in touch with us and does the whole thing. It's awesome of her to do that much for us. Everyone who's at the show. And yeah, super sick. I can't say enough nice things about it, so I'm going to stop. But go, check it out if you haven't. Google it if you haven't. Google Balaguer Guitars, Guitar Summit, or just Guitar Summit. You can see all the rad stuff that's out there. Ken says, I'll be your roadie next year. I think we can arrange that. We'll at the very least, maybe we can hook you up with free room and board. Just cover your plane ticket and you can just sleep with us. Because it's rad. It really is a great show. And is a lot of fun. So other catch-up stuff real quick before we talk about this guitar, because we are going to talk about what this guitar is, what makes it special, not just to me, but in general, because there are a couple of cool specs about it. You heard it in the intro. But we'll figure it out in a minute. We'll go through all the details. We do have a couple of in-stock guitars. There's some stuff in stock. Go to the website, go to the in-stock section. Pretty sick. We're going to have some more stuff being added soon. Also, some of you may have seen a teaser drop yesterday or day before about something that, I'll say something wicked that comes this way. Something wicked this way comes toward the end of the month. So keep a lookout for that. My lips are sealed for now, but it's been in the works for a long time. And I know it's something that Joe is super stoked about. I'll speak for him in saying that it is something we're all very excited about. Some people have already started guessing about what it is. Some people are closer than others, but we shall see. And yeah, that would be rad, Ken, to get a hang on. We'll have to have that chat because that would be fun. Also, random story, specifically met a luthier from the Czech Republic who works for and with a German luthier that we know. The German luthier is Stefan Richter. He builds all sorts of sustainable guitars. He's made guitars out of everything from like spent coffee bean husks to reclaimed woods. Absolutely cool, amazing dude, cool stuff. He recently started working with a friend of ours named Milan. Milan is Czech, and we got into a huge discussion about Czech beer. And he was like, "You guys, there's no way you guys get good Czech beer in America." And Ken, I had to tell him, I was like, "Yo, Human Robot in Philly." I was like, "It's my favorite brewery in America that I've been to, that I've had, and they do the best Czech pills I've ever had. So maybe next year I'll bring you some or something." We were laughing about it. He was like, "No, there's no way. It's impossible. You can't make beer like that outside of the Czech Republic." And I was like, "Dude, I'm telling you, it's bomb." I was like, "Even if it's not perfect, it's amazing, and that's what they're famous for." He was laughing. So I thought that was crazy, spreading the gospel of Human Robot in freaking Germany. But yeah, it was great. Kai says, "Is it finally SG time?" I couldn't possibly answer that, nor do I know. I'm just a guitar playing. I'm like a circus clown that just plays guitar. That's my job. But yeah, it was rad. So now that we've been through all that, I think that's just about everything that we've caught up on. I'm thinking just to be sure, but yes, I think that's everything. So if I forgot, Satan save me. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, the thing that we posted about, the thing that I've teased for many a live stream, anyone who's been in the live streams for a while now has heard me talk about this guitar. You've probably seen it, but if you haven't seen it, you've heard me talk about it. Sorry in advance, I'm going to move this. It might scratch for a second. I feel like it keeps bumping my chest and probably makes an annoying noise. This guitar. So this is a very special guitar to me specifically because it's the first Balaguer I ever bought. Bit of a backstory. It's been modded since, so it looks different than when I first had it built. But 2017, 2018, I forget now. The date is in the neck pocket. We pulled it apart because the neck is an oil and wax finish. And Joe was kind enough to reapply for me last year, finish, or year before last year. And had the neck pocket stuff in it. Go to my Instagram. I posted about it. Pretty sick. This used to be called the semi-customs. Now the select customs. There is some confusion there. People still sort of interchange those two, but it is the select custom series. The back then semi-custom. Buddy of mine, Stefan Hawkins, not to be confused with Stefan Richter, bought a Balaguer. And I was like, or commissioned a Balaguer, ordered a select custom. And I was like, that's dumb. Why would you order a guitar that you can't play? Why would you order something like that? You don't even know, like there was no one near us who had them super early on in the company. And I was kind of down on it. And he ordered a black thicket. It's a satin body trans with a trans black thicket with a tortoiseshell pickguard, roasted maple neck, roasted bird's eye maple fingerboard, HH configuration, and a hip shot bridge. I still remember everything about it. It's come up for sale a couple times, and I've almost bought it every time because I put my hands on that guitar, and in 5 minutes, I was like, holy shit, I have to have one of these because I like the neck carve so much. There aren't a lot of neck carves out there that fit my hand. I have small hands that aren't too big, aren't too small, and fit my hand just right. And that's what first drew me to Balaguer. So Stefan had been speaking to Joe because for his build, he put me in touch with Joe, and we talked about this. Those who might know a bit about me in the past, my background is not in metal. It is mostly in blues and rock and that sort of thing, fusion, that vibe. So I wanted to fuse the things that I loved most about my favorite guitars together. My favorite guitars at the time were a Les Paul and a Tele. And that's what this guitar is. So it's a Woodman, which is our more traditional T shape. It has all of our carves on the back and all of that. It's a mahogany body with a maple top, an actual solid top. I put a trim on it because I like a trim. So that's like my one little maybe Strat throw in here. HH, and then roasted maple neck, roasted bird's eye maple fingerboard. It's 25.5-inch scale. I replaced the blade switch with the toggle. It used to have a volume and a tone. I've since removed the tone knob and done a very special modification that we'll talk about in a moment. It also originally had a Wilkinson trim on it. It now has a Vega trim. That's something else we'll talk about in a moment. And all the other spec is pretty much the same. So to me, it sounds like something between a traditional Gibson and a traditional Fender. It's got the beef of the Gibsons that I love, which are what I mostly played, and it's got the snap bolt-on neck, roasted maple, bolt-on roasted maple neck and roasted maple fingerboard. It's got that snap and warmth of that sort of thing with the trim. So sort of a combination of specs that I love, that I grew up playing, the guitars that sort of got me started. That's this guitar. And still, to this day, sounds amazing. I originally ordered it with evergreens. I swapped those out for humbucker-sized Austral pickups for a bit there, before we had made those public years ago. And then I was a bit of a prototype mule for Joe. And then I put a set of Backwoods P90s in them. So these are our humbucker-sized Backwoods P90s that I've had in this guitar for a couple of years now. I'm a big fan of finding the things that the guitar is happy with, rather than fighting what a guitar sounds like, since every guitar, even made by the same company with the same woods, can sound different, just due to the nature of those things, due to the nature of nature. I try and find what works. And these P90s, the Backwoods P90s, have just sat so well on this guitar that I can't say a bad word about them. And I should probably play them for a second. What I'm going to do is get out of the looper. Can I do that like this? Oh, yeah, sick. Okay. Wish I'd have known that. I wouldn't have had to bend over. So what I'll do is I'll play a bit. I'll play through some tones. I'll do like a clean thing and then a crunch thing and then a gainier thing, and you can hear it because it's sick. And I think it's worth hearing because it sounds great. After I do a little bit of demo, we'll talk about my secret switch here. Don't tell my wife I said that. Whew. I still love playing this guitar so much. So that was me just running through clean to a bit of gain with the Backwoods P90 pickups in this guitar. Super sick, balance of tones, definitely my jam. I really, 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 really like it. It's one of the guitars that I'll never sell. I have 4 guitars that I think I would never ever, 5. I have a couple of guitars that I would never ever sell. But this one, in terms of just emotional investment and sort of what it means to me, this is top spot. I'll say tied for top spot because I do have a Les Paul that I inherited from my dad. That and this together. They also look sick together. It's funny. But yeah, just an absolute ripper of a guitar. And I really still enjoy playing it. OMG, you know Joe. Yes, yes, yes. Nobody needs a tone knob. Tone knobs are... I'm going to tell you why I got rid of the tone knob on this guitar in a second. Because I think this is worth it. I'm not a tone knob guy. I leave them on some more vintage spec guitars. But really, I would just rather not have to worry about the tone knob getting accidentally rolled down. Just my personal take. I also like that bit of extra zing and openness and output that you get from having no tone knob. If you get rid of that resistance, it sort of opens the tone up a little bit, which is a preference thing, not better or worse. I like it. Almost the ship of Theseus. Yeah. Every guitar needs to experience 4 to 7 sets of pickups before it's truly happy. That's what I tell myself. I tell myself that my guitars aren't mad at me because they know that they're sort of... It's like me going to Germany. Cultural exchange. I'm exposing them to the world of pickups so that they know what they're supposed to sound like. But it is fun. Um, the main mods that I've made to this guitar, which there have been a couple over the years, but the number one thing, or I should say the top things that I've done, pickup swaps. So I've been through 4 or 5 sets in this guitar. These are the backwoods P90s. The second thing I did was I put the Vega trim on it. So I went from a Wilkinson trim to the Vega trim. The Wilkinson's a much more vintage feeling trim. It's a great trim. I got nothing against it. The Vega trim, to me, I played one at NAMM a couple years ago. They sent us a sample, and I was like, we weren't going to put it in something yet. I was like, can I put that in my guitar? Joe let me do it, and it's been there ever since. To me, the Vega trim there are really 2 things that I like most about it. Because it sounds great, it looks great, but most trims sound great and look great. 2 things that set it apart for me, number 1 is the arm. What I like about the arm is it is both a pop in, like with a grommet, and a screw in trim. So I can pop it in, and I know it's not going anywhere, and I can screw it in so I can control the tension at the same time independently. I like that because I don't, it's the same way I use the vintage trim arm on the Floyd Rose, because I like to be able to bolt it down to the tension that I want and then adjust like in the actual trim itself, and then adjust with the set screw how tight the arm is. To me, it's the best of all worlds, because otherwise I feel like the trim arm starts to get loose, or you do like flutters, and instead of fluttering, the trim arm just goes like in the trim. Sounds like ass, and I hate that. So I like that this does both. The second thing, and arguably the more important thing, is the action of the trim is just the smoothest thing you've ever felt in your life. Having played most of the trims in existence, there is nothing I have not played anything that feels as smooth as a Vega trim. To me, it's just the right feel. And yeah, those are the first main 2 mods. And the third one is one that's fairly recent, which I think, Haziel, yo, what's up, dude? It's like a baby's arm. Yes, very gentle. What's up, Haziel? Good to see you, dude. The last big mod that I made, which was fairly recent, is the secret switch that I was talking about earlier. So shout out to Mike. Mike owns a Black Ice Overdrive, Black Ice Boost, Black Ice Distortion. And what Mike invented, after years in the music industry, and this is not unpaid, by the way, not a sponsor, he offered to send us this Black Ice Boost thing. It is a little black box, literally a little black box about yay big, that you put in the control cavity, stick them, either double-sided tape it or glue it into the cavity. It is totally passive, so no batteries. And it has 3 different boost settings. You can also, it's like 2 dB, 4 dB, and 7 dB. And it's focused a bit in the mids. So you get this push of fatness, this push of gain at the highest settings. And then at the lowest settings, it's more of like a sparkly full frequency boost. We tried it in a thicket over there first, and heard it with the Austral pickups. And I was like, good damn, I have to have one of those. So talked to Mike, got one, put it in this guitar. Because of all the products that I've ever heard claim to make single coils sound beefy like humbuckers, I have never, or very rarely, have I heard anything that even comes close. And the stuff that comes close usually to me ends up not feeling great. It might sound great, but it starts to make the guitar, it feels funny to play. This to me does neither. I am happy to turn it on because it actually does what I expect it to do, which is wild. So what I'm going to do is play it for you so that you can hear it. I'm running through the Quad Cortex, of course. The capture I'm using is a Marshall Plexi capture. It's a good mid-gain capture. And then I have a version of it that's boosted with an EP booster and a compressor, Van Halen style. And then I have a third sound that's A 5153. So a more legitimate amount of gain. Let's say like 80s hair metal level. So I want to show you what that sounds like, because honestly, I put it on a switch. The switch is just on and off, but you can set the switch to change the level of boost. You can put a 3-way switch on it that's like off, low boost, high boost. There are a bunch of ways you can wire it, and it's very simple to wire. But I want to show you what it sounds like, because I'm really stoked about it. So check it out. So that was just running through the sounds, going up in gain, switching it on and off so you could hear how it switches into the boosted version of what it is, which it's just a boost in the signal. So it's not changing the pickups. It's not affecting the pickups. There's no like unique wiring. You don't have to do any routing or anything weird. You could literally just hardwire it into the guitar. You can also put it on a push-pull pot, which is how we have it in the Thicket. I put it on a switch because back to the tone knob thing, I was kind of looking, my tone knob on this was actually disconnected. I just had it there because it looked cool. But now I've actually got a practical purpose. So a practical thing there. I found a practical purpose for that space. And it rips. It absolutely rips. It's about $100. I can't say enough good things about it. It's like my current favorite piece of gear, if you want to call it gear, because it really is crazy what it does. It delivers on the turn single coil into humbucker thing. Also, if you heard the intro jam, the backing track that I used the looper on the Quad Cortex for was a was the P90 sound, and then the leads that I was playing when I first came in were the Black Ice boost turned on. Same tone, nothing changed, just turning on the Black Ice boost. So super stoked about that. Definitely adds a degree of versatility that I very rarely heard out of a single coil guitar, because you can still have the single coil, let's say bridge sound, instead of doing an HSS setup. You can do an SSS, have a single coil in the bridge for the true bridge single coil sounds, which for me is either going to be a P90 or like an Austral, a Tele pickup. And then you flip that on and you've got this beefy ass humbucker tone, and it rules. I'm really stoked about it. I haven't tried it with humbuckers yet. What I think is, because there's the lower boost setting, I think that based on how that setting sounds with these things, it'll sound sick with humbuckers. But we'll see. When I get there, I'll have to play it for the live stream so everyone can hear it. Anyway, that's enough fanboying, but it is sick. You should check it out. Oh, Haziel, yo, already said hello to you. Good to see you, dude. Yo, Pedals and Tea. What's up, my boy? Speaking of people that hung out with us at Guitar Summit, I won't dox you, but it was a great hang. Good to see you, man. Thanks for dropping in. Was just searching for Balaguer demos. Yeah, we did a great bunch of pickup demos recently. Be sure to check those out from last year. Haziel says, I'm in dire need of guava color in the builder. That's a good shout. Certainly sick, certifiably sick. I want one guitar, make nice switch. Should have used my preset. Oh, good shout. I still do use it, by the way. It's just I don't have it built into the rock rig thing that I use for this. Now let's pitch it down an octave. Tone knobs are just silly. Is the Plexi a new JP2C variant? Hello from Japan, HKM. Yo, what is this guitar's model name? This is the Woodman. So the Woodman is our more traditional T-style shape. It does have some additional cutaways on the back, like a belly cut and some extra contouring. Mine is a flat top. You can also get it with the forearm contour. Thank you for asking, and cheers. Yeah, this is our Woodman model, and it was the first guitar that I ever had made by Balaguer, long before I worked for the company, when I was just gigging the guitar all the time. And originally, similar to how Select Custom used to be semi-custom, the Woodman used to be, we used to have the Woodman BB and the Woodman. They were two separate things. Then they became individually the Woodman BB, and the Thicket, which is kind of sick. I very much enjoyed that. It's not, however, a man made of wood. No, it is not. Counting down the days for NAMM. Can't wait to see you guys. Yeah, you too, dude. Seriously. Can't wait to hang. Aziel always comes by, says hello to us at NAMM. He lives out in California. And always a great hang. So, yeah, dude, looking forward to seeing you. But, yeah, those are the main things that I've done with this guitar over the years. I've played, I don't know if I'd say hundreds, because COVID was shortly after, was like a year or so after I got this guitar. But a year or two maybe. And but I've played, let's say, dozens, maybe 100 gigs with this guitar, and has never failed me. It's an absolute ripper. Gigged it in Louisiana, gigged it in California. It's the one that I used to take with me everywhere if I went somewhere for a show or for anything. And it's an awesome guitar. I can't say enough good things about it. I still feel emotionally connected to it, not just because it was my first Balaguer, but because it's also, to me, it embodies sort of the spirit of Balaguer that for me at that time in my life, where I wanted something a little more traditional. The Espada had not been released yet. And this fit that vibe for me. I could make it what I wanted and really combine the best specs that worked for me as a player. Now it would be a tough sell between this and the Espada in terms of body shape for like the modern thing. Most of you have seen my baritone Espada, which is like kind of my baritone version of a guitar that does this sort of similar thing. And yeah, it rules. But this is the one I keep at home. Let me put it that way. When I'm playing at my house, this is the guitar that I'm usually playing, because I just feel connected to it. I feel, you get to know a guitar just like you get to know anything else. You get to know a car, a motorcycle, and eventually you're just not thinking about what you're doing when you're playing it or riding it or driving it. And this is that for me. So without getting too emotional, it's just a special guitar. And I'd be curious to know if anyone has good stories or anything cool about their first Balaguer, or any stories about how they got into the brand. I feel like I tell mine frequently, but feel free to drop them in the comments. I'd be curious. I've talked to so many of you. Most of you I kind of know in that regard, but I'd be curious to know. Graham, yo, what's up, dude? Thanks for dropping in. And Kai, hope to see you at the UK show next year. Yeah, me too. I hope that we will be there. The Birmingham show was awesome earlier this year, so I hope we get to do that. The year of the sniffle. Yeah, it feels that way, doesn't it? The Seraph is my favorite T-style. Dude, I'm telling you, this is the guitar that I've owned the longest. I've always loved the Thicket. I have one in the queue right now because I've always wanted one. But the Seraph, and I've talked about this in other live streams when I've played my Seraph, I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did. But it's so comfortable. It's arguably the most comfortable. In fact, it's not arguable. It's the most comfortable guitar I've ever played. And especially because mine's a 7-string, for me to feel so comfortable playing that guitar, the Seraph as a shape, the contours, the 3-bolt heel, everything about that guitar, the way that the neck is brought back and the balance, the soft offset rather than it being a hard offset, it really is a sick model. And I've told the story before when Joe first showed it to me. I was like, like I didn't really get it. I got it in terms of like the identity and and where it would sit in the lineup and all of that. And of course, I trust the master. So he was like, trust me. And I was like, I'm in. And he was absolutely right. It's a sick model. It's done extremely well. Not just like as a business thing, but as a model that people like to play. So yeah, that's a good shout, Dave. Definitely can't go wrong. John, yo, you got to stop having these during my meeting block. I will not. I will not apologize, and I will ruin all your meetings. Oh, good to see you, dude. Kai says my first Balaguer arrived before my first Balaguer was completed. Ordered a custom. Oh yeah, then bought an ether in the synthwave. That's right. I remember that. And that's sick. Kai, for anyone who doesn't know, has a sick YouTube channel. Check it out. Our guitars are in some of those videos. We got to meet him at Guitar Summit this year for those coming in late to the chat. But that's a cool story. I like that. And I feel like it's funny. A lot of that happens not often, but maybe more often than people think, where someone orders a guitar and then while they're waiting for the select custom, they like can't wait, so they buy a production guitar. Which I mean, I own production guitars. There's nothing weird about it. And you're no worse off than you would be on a select custom. You just don't get to choose the specs. But yeah, that's funny. And that always makes me giggle a little bit. Mario says, if you were to build that guitar again, would you reverse the headstock? No, not on this. Although my Thicket that's coming in has a reverse headstock. So there is that. No, truthfully, the only thing that I would change about this guitar after I've had it now for 6 or 7 years, something like that, I wish I would have done the forearm contour. I love a flat top. I love the way it looks, and there's something historical about it. And I did it on purpose because I'd have the contours on the back with the flat top, which I really like. But I should have known better because I used to destroy my arm gigging my Les Paul and my Telly. But even my Telly had rounded edges. This is like a sharp edge, and I destroy my arm on it. So I would do the forearm contour here, like the drop top, just to make it a little more comfortable. Other than that, I wouldn't change a single thing about it. I've been so stoked to play this guitar for this long, and it's never treated me poorly or done me wrong. So no complaints. So John says double neck a spot a win. You know, we've joked about that. One day it's going to happen. There's no way it's not going to happen, even if it's like a half joke. It'll happen one day. And I'll tell you what, I give you my word, you will get the call because we'll have to chat about that. Also, unrelated, we should talk soon. I have something I want to talk to you about that I'm going to leave it there. It's kind of cryptic, but we should talk soon. I'll hit you up on Instagram or something. Juan says, my Seafoam Growler just has more mojo than any other guitar, honestly. Number one since I got it. I don't think Joe had kids yet. That's awesome. Yeah, actually, that would have been around the time that mine was made. And I still love seeing that Growler. So that's super sick. And I think there's something, in the having something for that long, something of our, without getting too lofty, our spirit, our ambitions, the things that we manifest sort of end up projected onto the guitar and then in a way become part of the guitar. That's how I feel when I play this. I feel emotionally connected to it because it was such a turning point in my life, getting involved with the company as a player, buying the guitar, and then more than that over time and everything else. It's just, yeah, it's rad. Well, I may end up going off the rails on like an emotional tangent if I'm not careful. That's like the third time I've almost done it. Kai bought 2 Balaguer appetizers while waiting for his main course. That's awesome. I'm going to start describing it that way. For your Balaguer appetizer, this is what you should get. That's awesome. Kai says, and for dessert, my boss bought me a Growler 30 that showed up by surprise in the same box as my custom. Yeah, that was a cool move. I won't dox your boss, but that was such a cool move. And yeah, that was a great thing because Joe and I are fans and also it was just like so cool of him to do that. So yeah, I'm glad that you just got overloaded with Balaguer in the best possible way. Dave says triple neck Espada win, probably never. Although Joe and I were watching that clip from G3 in Denver when Steve Vai plays the triple neck, and he's like the only person I've ever heard do it in a way that is actually musical. Super sick. Um, so if you haven't seen that, check it out. Watch the whole G3 Live in Denver DVD. Changed my life. Introduced me to instrumental guitar in a way that I hadn't been yet introduced to. At that point, it was mostly fusion, stuff like Jeff Beck or Al Di Meola. Seeing that DVD changed what I knew instrumental guitar could be. And then I became a huge fan of Steve Vai and Joe Satriani, Yngwie, eventually John Petrucci and Dream Theater, all that stuff. Anyway, check it out. Not to just like totally oversell it, but rad. Double neck Tartarus the long way, Michelangelo Badio style. There you go. Now we're talking. We're really revving up the multiple neck thing here. This is gonna be wild. Joe's gonna be so happy he wasn't here for this now because it's all about double necks. And I don't know about Michelangelo Badio, but it could be the Tenacious D style, which I love. Love that movie. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny. What a great movie. My other growler even has Joe's handwritten and serial number 16. Yeah, we just love guitars, man. It's true. And it's funny. Mine, I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but back in the day, Joe used to sign the headstocks. And this is the OG signed in silver signature pen, which is what he used to do back in the day. So that's sick. Paul, yo, good to see you on there. I thought you survived. I see you survived Oktoberfest. Yeah, and Guitar Summit. Definitely more difficult to survive Guitar Summit than Oktoberfest in terms of A, risk of illness, and B, risk of just emotional and physical drainage. But no, good to see you, dude. Vi's an alien. Yes, he is. Beelzebub. Yeah, dude. Straight up, though. Was that let's see. I'm going to try and remember some of it. It's something like that. I'm a half step down, so it probably sounds funny, but it's something like that. And good fun. Yeah, man, that soundtrack is banging. Seriously, what a good soundtrack. So many good. Hold on. I'm gonna come up with another one real quick. Dude, I totally miss you. I really miss you. Don't ban me, YouTube. Yeah, dude, man. Oh, what a great soundtrack. For an off the cuff thing, you nailed that. Oh, thanks. Signed in blood. Yeah, same spot as mine. That's right. Legendary soundtrack. It's true. Amazing riffs on that soundtrack. Yeah, man. Wow, so many good sounds on that record, and like good tones too, which is kind of funny. But like you wouldn't think about it that way, but seriously, some ripping tones on that record. I think we also need to mention how buff Kai has been looking lately. Almost don't recognize him from older videos. Yeah, I can tell you he looks even more buff in person. My dude is looking fire. So whatever he's doing, it's working. You may have to share some tips with me. But that's the gist on this guitar. It's how I got started. It's everything about this guitar that I love. I think it's, again, at the risk of an emotional roller coaster ride, it really is just a special thing, I think. And as a segue, with Guitar Summit on the brain, getting to meet and talk to so many great people, it is emblematic of the experience, right? You know, I think there's something, building guitars is sick. We like building guitars, and we like working with great teams that build guitars, like in Korea and Indonesia, when we're not building them ourselves. Like the whole thing is just an awesome experience for us. Um, but the number one thing, because of course we don't exist without you guys, without the support. So the number one thing is us being able to do this stuff. I mean, I'll be honest, I look forward to the live stream more than I look forward to most business related things because it's just a good hang. Play tone, make some good sounds, play some sick guitars, have a good chat. And I think there's just something special about that. It's the best part of what we do. It's the part that we enjoy the most. We're sure as hell not in it for the money, or for security. It's a tough industry to be in. It's tough to get it right all the time, but that's why we don't ever leave anyone hanging, is because that's what's special about it to us. And sometimes that costs us time. Sometimes that costs us money. And I say that transparently. I'm not looking for, it's not a woe is me thing. It's the reality of what we do. And that stuff happens, but we would always rather make it right. And my experience, I shared it in the Facebook group the other day. My experience when I got this guitar, there were some goofball little surface scratches in it because I got gloss black, which is the hardest finish to make clean, by the way. And there were some little lines you could see where some repairs had been made. And Joe was like, dude, we'll remake the guitar for you. I was like, no, I don't want to wait. I was like, give me that guitar. I don't give a shit. I'm going to destroy it anyway. Give me that guitar. He was like, well, I'll throw in a case and a shirt and all this other stuff. I was like, dude, that's so sick. So I had that experience of being treated well and fairly. So we never miss an opportunity to pass that on. And I think in a world where that is not necessarily always the case, it can be easy to look at something we say or we do, or any brand says or does, with a skepticism that is not unreasonable. But what I really hope is that we've never dropped the ball on that we've always managed to come through when it mattered most, and to be supportive of everyone who plays Balaguer, whether they're just doing it for fun, whether they're gigging locally, whether they're touring the world, anything. And it's a special place to be. And more than anything else, we're just eternally grateful for all of you, and anyone who's ever supported us in any way. Sometimes even the people who talk bad about us. We're grateful because it's A, free publicity, and B, there are so many people out there who've had a good experience that they almost always chime in to say, no, that isn't how these guys do business. And that's awesome to know that we have that support in that community, because that's what we built the company on. And by we, I mean Joe, and then me, with some help. So anyway, that's enough of that. Sheesh, Kai Down personal training would go hard. The secret is to eat breakfast at night. Oh, damn. Cereal for dinner and riffs till failure. Now that's a workout right there. I like that. I want to thank my fans, my dog, my agent. Yes, exactly. You guys went to Oktoberfest, like 2 large gingerbreads, 3 hash browns with applesauce, some packs of roasted almonds. That sounds about right. And it was great. I love German food, and I love German beer, and I love German people. So it was every time I've been, which is twice now, I've had the most amazing experience. Highly recommended for anybody who wants to go. My therapist, that's me. Or are you talking about Pedals and Tees list? Either way, maybe. Kenny says, you guys always treat me with respect and kindness, and I always appreciate that. And share that experience with anyone looking to get a new guitar. Thank you for saying that, dude. And I know that comes from an honest place, not just because we're friends. And I really appreciate it, because that is the goal. Nothing makes us feel better than when someone says you went above and beyond, and this is special to me. Nothing makes us feel worse is when it goes wrong. But then 99 times out of 100, we have the tools to make it right, and we do it, and then it ends up at a happy place. Which, we're all about the happy place. So that's cool. And yes, Ken, that probably is why we get along. German portion size nearly knocked me out. Asked for a slice of chocolate bread and they gave us half a loaf. Yep, that sounds about right. They don't mess around or dare, that for sure. So I was going to talk a bit about the select custom process today as well. I think I got a little carried away with my emotional opinion of Balaguer and how we do business and what's important to us, as well as talking about my guitar, which would put me in an emotional state any day or night, which is probably a mistake to try and cram too much in, knowing that I was going to talk about this guitar. But I do want to say one thing about the process, specifically because I've seen it come up in the Facebook discussion group and a couple of other places, which is right now importing stuff into the US sucks. We don't charge you guys for it. I just want to be clear about that. We haven't put any money anywhere to like cover the costs of the tariffs that we're paying out of our pocket. Where a guitar used to make us X, it now makes us X minus the tariffs. And that sucks. It's tens of thousands of dollars. Like, it's not great. But we're not passing that stuff on to you guys because we don't want to, because we think that's bullshit. We think it's bullshit that it's happening, and we think it's bullshit that you would be made to pay for it. So we don't do it. I hope that we never have to. That depends on how long our current climate persists. But I also wanted to say that with that also comes the additional scrutiny of customs. We've had a couple of builds take an extra 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks because the guitar is literally sitting in customs, just waiting to get released to us. It's not because we don't have the paperwork. It's not because anything is wrong. It's just because that's the current climate. And it sucks. And we're so sorry to anyone who's had to wait. We do everything we can. We're constantly reaching out to our broker, to customs, to everyone that we can do anything with to make this any faster. And unfortunately, it's been adding, on average, 2 to 3 weeks to a build time, sometimes more. And I hope that everyone understands that, because it's an easy excuse to make, right? Oh, transit. Oh, it's not here yet. Oh, we're still waiting on it. Oh, whatever. And that can come across a certain kind of way, which is why we don't just constantly say that. Because even though it's true, it would make us look like assholes, and we're not. And we're not just going to make excuses. We're going to get it done. And it sucks that it takes longer. But I did want to say that because I think everyone here in the chat are the people and players who I can say that to and who won't immediately think, oh, they're just making excuses, because we're not. And it sucks for us just as much for you guys, I promise you. But I just wanted to say that because I feel like it's come up a couple times. Oh, my guitar I got my final photos, but where's my guitar? That kind of thing. And it's not an unfair question. I don't want anyone to get flamed for it. It's a legitimate thing to feel a certain kind of way about. But it's also not anything we can control. We're doing everything we can, and it crushes us as much as it crushes you. So we try our best to stay in touch about it and just make sure that you're aware. Felt like I had to say that, and felt like it was important, especially on the tail end of talking about how much we appreciate everything that everybody does for us, both in their words and their support in general. Dylan says, you guys do great work and deserve all the praise. Thank you, man. Really appreciate that. Dylan has some ultimately sick guitars, like top tier stuff. So check out his guitars. But thank you, dude. That's so kind of you. Ja, you want the bread. Oh, you want the bread. Und ja, the bread ist gut. Yeah, it is very good. Also, German as a language, so sick. I made an effort to learn a certain amount before we went to Guitar Summit last year and got to use it. It was a blast. Cool language. Very neat. I think it gets a lot of flack because of how aggressive it can sound, but it is also very beautiful, and it's a fun language to speak and learn. And I feel like German people are very receptive when you use it, unlike some other countries where I think have a bad reputation for that. I feel like Germany doesn't really have any reputation because most people don't try. But I can tell you from personal experience, people are awesome about it. It's a lot of fun. You ever go, learn the basic words. It's cool. You get a little, like a wink and a nod when you do it too. It's a lot of fun. Screen capture mock-up stream soon. Yeah. That would be sick, actually. That's not a bad idea. I may have to write that idea down. We've talked about the idea of like building guitars on stream, but it is the screen share thing that has kept us from doing it because we don't have. I have like an external Elgato that I use like at home and stuff to screen share simultaneously. I'll have to bring it in and try it. That's a good shout, Kai. I appreciate the idea. Um, I'll be sure to send you your royalty check. You probably earned a couple of them at this point. Mario says, I'm getting all emotional now. I need to go to the builder. Yes, cope with guitars. That's how we fill the void in our souls, as well as how we uplift ourselves when we're already feeling great. So, yes, do that. Dave says, try importing stuff into the UK. Yeah, man. I'm not trying to slag any of my UK bros, but that's a tough one. That was a tough vote to pass. But I get it. That stuff's always tricky, and I don't claim to understand the UK environment as a person. Having been for the first time this year and having some great English friends and Irish friends and Scottish friends and Welsh friends. Don't let me leave anyone out. It's it's tough, and I feel for you guys now. I get where the sentiment came from originally, even if I didn't agree with it necessarily. But we'll make it work. We're still getting guitars to y'all, and we're going to keep doing it. So that's the best that we at Balaguer Guitars can do, and we will keep doing our best. You can bet on it. Kenny says, we live in a world of instant gratification, and that is annoying as a small business that takes the care in putting out an amazing product. It's frustrating as hell, to say the least. It's true. I think anyone who's ever worked for, at, or in any capacity with a small business sees a lot of trends in the way that people interpret what you do, how you do it, what you say. You know, I understand where people are coming from, right? You spend 3 Gs or less or more on a guitar, you have a right to feel a certain kind of way about it when you haven't heard something in a couple months, or when you are feeling impatient toward the end of a build, or if it's stuck in customs or whatever. And that's why we always take the approach of like, more info is better. We're not just going to be like, nope, no news, unless there is actually no news. But in that case, we will say like, hey, you're at this point in the process. This is what you're waiting on. No update yet, but it won't be long now, or something like that. The reason we say that is because it's the truth. If we had more info, if we had photos, we just sent them to you already. But we also don't send photos before the guitar is ready to be photographed, because if we did, excuse me, people would be like, what the hell? This isn't what I ordered. This doesn't look right. This primer coat is not the color I chose, or this is satin and not gloss, or where's my headstock logo, or how come I can't see the inlays, or all of the things that we've learned over the years where we try and find the sweet spot. And we do want to send more updates. We do want to stay in touch better. We're a very small team. It takes a lot of time. That is the one excuse I will make, because sometimes we just don't have the time to do things that aren't milestones. If we have photos, if it's something that's a milestone update, you will get them as soon as they are ready. The other stuff, sometimes, we're sending photos to other people, or we're in Germany at Guitar Summit, or we're finalizing builds for you, or doing QC or setup. We love doing that. We want to stay in touch. Thank you, Ken, for appreciating what all of that means. And to anyone who appreciates it, it is difficult. We appreciate it. We signed up for it. We've been told that one before. Well, this is what you signed up for. And it's true. Not my favorite take on it, because it seems a little out of touch, but it is the truth. And we did sign up for it. And we're always trying to make the process better, as best as we can as a small team. And it's what we do. I think a lot of people see us and have this impression that we're like a big company, and we're not. We're 7 people. But we're 7 people that work our asses off. And that's how we try our best to make it work. So you can always reach out to us, info@BalaguerGuitars.com. You can always comment on a video, comment in the Facebook discussion group, the Balaguer Guitars Facebook discussion group, the BGFBDG. You can always find us there, as well as everybody else. And, it's something that we value. So stay in touch. We always want to be there to help as best we can. Live stream community build. That would be sick. Without giving too much away, and to piggyback on that, we have talked about the idea of doing a live stream build that we then raffle off or auction off or something like that. Maybe one day. I hope we can do it. The truth is, it is surprisingly challenging logistically to do something like that, at least for us, because we are cavemen and women. But we will do our best, and that would be a cool idea. And I think that's something that, the 10th anniversary run has been released, which is available for pre-order. That's the thing I didn't mention earlier. 10th anniversary guitars, super sick. Go check them out. Standard scale, 27-inch, 30-inch, super cool classic sky blue colors and rustic black. Basses, multi-scale bass, super cool stuff. Check it out. Something we talked about doing for the 10th anniversary was something like that, where like maybe we each build a select custom and then auction them off, or each build a select custom and give them off as a raffle to people in the group and people in the chat who've supported the brand. Those are all things that we do in various ways, and I'm sure they'll come around one day. But for now, there's so much focus on the 10th anniversary run that that's really where we're at. Which, by the way, those are nearly complete. Should be coming in late November. So thanks to everyone who's ordered one, and keep a lookout. Late November, early December. I'll cash my royalty check in on the wheel of Balaguer. There you go, the wheel. I need to bust that back out. I don't know why I'm hard on it. Joe always loves to bring it out and always hard on the idea. I'm like, this is the wheel. But it is fun. Got to give him a little bit. So I think we will. We will. Paul says, not to get emo about it, but a friend of mine here bought a Balaguer, Claudio, and I immediately asked if he talked to you about it, and he did. Small world, felt good. Yeah, man, I've actually been talking a lot with Claudio. Great chat, great hang. He said he knew you. I was waiting for the process to get wrapped up before reaching out to you because I didn't want to, put him on blast with you about that stuff. But yeah, just what a great hang. And that's a perfect example of like what it couldn't go any better. Reaches out, hey, my buddy Paul said some stuff. We jammed together. I know him. He knows you. He said you were sick. Let's talk. Started talking. Had a great chat. Got him a guitar. Like, it's just, man, it's awesome. So yeah, no, I'll get emo about that any day of the week because boy, I feel good about it. Matt, do you still make Muramasa pickups? Are they hotter than the Hypernovas? Good question. We do make the Muramasa pickups. They're in the builder. They're only available as custom order for upper strings, like 7 and 8s. In fact, I'm not even sure if we can do them for 8s because I don't know if they make the magnets big enough for the way we build them. But they only show up, I believe, in the 6 string, maybe 7 string on the builder. But you can always ask. Yes, we still make them. If you wanted to order them custom, like just as a separate set, we can do that too. And you can order them however you want. Blades, radiator covers, however you want them to look, we can do that. Not everything, but most things that we typically offer are available for the Muramasas. They are hotter than the Hypernovas, not by a whole lot. I would say they're more saturated, and it's a flatter response and a more compressed feel. So sometimes the Hypernovas feel hotter because they have more of that like EQ boost going on. The Muramasa is a flatter EQ, but is a more saturated sound. So I would say it feels hotter when you play it. The Hypernovas can sound hotter depending on what sort of tones you're going for. I love the Muramasas. They feel great to play, super buttery under the fingers, tight and aggressive without being like shrill or hurtful in a negative way. They can be hurtful in a positive way if you're looking to put out some punishing tone, but that's a whole other thing. But yeah, we do. And of course, Matt, if you have any other questions, you can always hit us up, info@BalaguerGuitars.com. Congrats. Thank you. I know each build is a select custom and send to Dave. Yeah, I'm just going to put your address for everything. That'd be the easy way to handle it. At least I know they're all going to go to a good home. Well, this was a sick hang. Obviously, selfishly, maybe not obviously, but selfishly, I love talking about my own guitars, especially ones that are super special to me. It worked out in a way that Joe was not here right after I had this guitar ready because it made it easy for me to be able to talk about it in the stream. I miss Joe. We all miss Joe. He'll be back in 2 weeks, I hope. We do this every other Friday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, here on the Balaguer Guitars YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe. And yeah, everyone who says nice things, and even the people who don't, we appreciate everyone's support, everyone's input, everyone's everything, and you are everything to us. Like that? So, I'm not even joking. So, it feels great. And, we're so lucky to be able to do this and grateful for everyone who has ever just been involved with the brand in any way, shape, or form, except when you're hanging in Germany. Yeah, right. And yeah, I'm going to try and transmit these emotional vibes into some riffage on the way out. I'm probably going to do what I'll probably do is swap between the P90 sound and then kick in the Black Ice Boost, which for any of those who missed it, this is my first Balaguer guitar. I've modded it a whole bunch. This is my Balaguer guitar. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And it's got our backwoods P90s in it, mahogany body, maple top, solid top, roasted maple neck, roasted bird's eye maple fingerboard, Vega trim in the bridge, which is one of the mods that I did, and a Black Ice Boost on a switch, which basically takes my P90s and makes them sound like thick boy humbuckers. It's one of the only things I've ever heard to do that. I just installed it the other day. We just started experimenting with them about a month ago, and damn, they sound good. So, gonna rip a bit. And Jose, yo, what's up? Bass guitars. Yeah, dude. Oh, I'm glad you reached out. We need to talk. My boy Jose, for those who don't know, Jose and I played music in California together. He's a sick bass player. Their band, his band, the band that he's in, Silent Vice, just opened for Vola, an amazing Balaguer artist fronted band. They played in San Diego on our old stomping grounds. Silent Vice opened for them. Super sick. And yeah, Jose, we should talk about that. That's a good. Yes, we will talk soon. Full Metal Thicket. I like it. Thick boy. Jose, we'll talk soon. And to everybody else, thanks again. I'm going to riff a little bit. Happy Friday. Hope everyone has a great weekend. I think I'm going to return to the E33 riff. Don't tell anyone. They seem to be cool about people using their likenesses in music, so I didn't think I'd get like copyright struck or anything goofy. I don't even know if they can do that on live streams, but we're going for it. So I'm going to see if I can set that up again. I don't know if it'll let me. I don't know how to. Let's see. Hold on. There we go. And we'll let this rip. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. I'm going to riff a little bit, and then we'll see everyone soon. I hope everyone keeps it real. You got to keep it real. See y'all soon.